Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 origin continent based on novel. So let's start. Lord of Yuan Xiao Mansion watched from a distance, only able to see a huge dark world, unable to discern what was happening inside. Pu. Suddenly, a sword light pierced through the membrane of the dark world and instantly escaped. Lord of Yuan Xiao Mansion, somewhat surprised, said, just after the confrontation, has Great Saint Baiyun already fled? Saw the Novelia.ne*t website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. In the Transcendence of the Primal Chaos realm in the Land of Origin, even in one-on-one situations, very few could force Great Saint Baiyun to flee, let alone with the assistance of Great Saint Yangsu and City Lord Huang Fong. She escaped. Great Saint Baiyun, having escaped to a far distance, finally breathed a sigh of relief and cast a glance at Lord of Yuan Xiao Mansion. Great Saint Baiyun, Lord of Yuan Xiao Mansion said politely, acknowledging that both in individual strength and background, Baiyun was superior to him. Brother Yuan Xiao, you are indeed wise, Baiyun said. Had you mixed in, this true body of yours might have been lost. Lord of Yuan Xiao Mansion, astonished, asked, Great Saint Baiyun, what exactly happened inside the dark world? What about Great Saint Yangsu and City Lord Huang Fong? Baiyun shook her head and finally said, the blood spirit golden pearl has nothing to do with us anymore. With that, she had already faded into the distant cosmos. Lord of Yuan Xiao Mansion was secretly shocked. From Baiyun's reaction, he could infer some information. It seems it was a one-sided sweep. 3 against 1, yet they were thoroughly defeated. Knowing the likely outcome, Lord of Yuan Xiao Mansion didn't wait any longer. The mission for the Blood Spirit Golden Pearl, as far as we are concerned, is already over. He also left quietly. In the vast dark world, only Luo Fong and City Lord Huang Fong remained. The Thunder Ancient Country and the Flame Wind Ancient Country are on equal footing, while the entirety of the Thunder Ancient Country's imperial clan primarily cultivates the primordial bloodline, Luo Fong observed, looking at the massively built City Lord Huang Fong. The imperial clan of Flame Wind Ancient Country also cultivates the primordial bloodline. However, for Flame Wind Ancient Country, the entry barrier is much higher. Normally, one must become a godly king and pass through numerous screenings before beginning the path of the primordial bloodline. Based on the intelligence Luo Fong had, several of the 13 emperors of Flame Wind Ancient Country practiced the primordial bloodline, showing the attractiveness of this faction. City Lord Huang Fong, however, barely entered the entry level of the weakest tier in the primordial bloodline system. As for Marquis Chu Yuan, who Luo Fong had once beaten into a liquid, he wasn't even considered to have entered the system. Looking at City Lord Huang Fong, a thought arose in Luo Fong, and 30,000 black rivers transformed into numerous black blade lights, all performing the blade river slash. Rumbling. The endless black blade lights destroyed everything in their path, even causing numerous fine cracks in the braided cage world membrane. With such terrifying might, City Lord Huang Fong bore it entirely, unable to dodge even a bit. Hiss tilde. Numerous wounds appeared on City Lord Huang Fong's body, as if he had been slashed by thousands of knives, his body covered in greenish blood. But as soon as the might of the blade lights passed, the numerous wounds on City Lord Huang Fong's body naturally healed. Well, it did break the skin and caused bleeding, laughed City Lord Huang Fong. Luo He, I admit your power is impressive, but unfortunately, I didn't lose even a drop of divine power. Luo Fong also noticed this. Physical cultivation, at the level of City Lord Huang Fong meant that mere superficial skin wounds were not a real loss. Complete annihilation of some flesh was needed for any divine power reserve to be depleted. I advise you not to waste your effort. City Lord Huang Fong was very confident, although he was being swept away by the endless black rivers, making it hard to resist, continuously drawing closer to Luo Fong. I want to try. Luo Fong looked at City Lord Huang Fong. The 30,000 blade lights performing blade river slash, from a distance contained many mysteries, deadly sharp, even opening fine cracks on the braided cage membrane. But Luo Fong in close combat could mobilize nearly 100 billion black rivers, an unadulterated force. Merge. With a thought, Luo Fong drew back all the sprawling black rivers into his body, even withdrawing most of those merged into the dark world, maintaining only 10 billion black rivers in the dark world. The dark world, the more black rivers it merged, the stronger it became. 10 billion black rivers was already enough to seal most who transcended the primal chaos realm. City Lord Huang Fong saw the surrounding black rivers quickly converging towards Luo Fong, and he too was swept up, rapidly approaching. Suddenly, the rapidly enlarging Luo Fong stretched out a hand and grabbed at the approaching neck of City Lord Huang Fong. At this moment, Luo Fong possessed the power of nearly 90 billion black rivers. Open. City Lord Huang Fong struggled, even swinging his arms, but Luo Fong's arm remained unshakable, firmly grasping City Lord Huang Fong's neck. Crush. Luo Fong's left hand grabbed City Lord Huang Fong's neck, while his right hand's 5 fingers plunged directly into City Lord Huang Fong's body. Pu. Luo Fong felt City Lord Huang Fong's body was extremely tough, much of his force naturally dissipated by the skin, but eventually, Luo Fong's fingers still forcibly penetrated its flesh. The flesh layer offered even more resistance, as if numerous ropes entangled opposing Luo Fong, with even a bone armor layer deeper inside, densely packed. Luo Fong's 5 fingers seemed to be piercing through weapons' secret treasures, forcibly breaching some of the bone armor, and finally stopping. Luo Fong's arm pierced deep into City Lord Huang Fong's body, unable to push any further. "It's too tough," Luo Fong exclaimed. City Lord Huang Fong was astounded, being penetrated nearly halfway through his body by a bare hand. He was a strong physical entity, with an entry-level primordial bloodline. Pu. Boom. Rip. Luo Fong, one hand gripping City Lord Huang Fong's neck, the other, whether it was a hand blade, claw, or fist, unleashed the full force of nearly 90 billion black rivers, continuously tearing through City Lord Huang Fong's body. Luo, how did you cultivate your physical body? I can be sure you haven't cultivated the primordial bloodline, yet how is your physical body stronger than mine? The City Lord of Desert Wind City asked, while getting beaten, still managing to inquire. Don't waste your effort. It seems I get injured again and again, but actually, I haven't spent a drop of divine power, said the City Lord of Desert Wind City, as he was getting hit. I can't fight you, but the vitality of the primordial bloodline is beyond your imagination. Luo Fong stopped, nodded and said, your physical body is indeed very resilient. As he spoke, a giant blood shadow knife suddenly appeared in Luo Fong's right hand out of thin air. A knife? The City Lord of Desert Wind still didn't care. Slash. Luo Fong, holding the City Lord of Desert Wind by the throat in his left hand, casually tossed him aside, while at the same time, his right hand had already swung the knife. At that moment, nearly 9 billion strands of black river power condensed into one, channeling through the heavy and incredibly sharp blood shadow knife, cleaving forcefully into the waist of the City Lord of Desert Wind. Thick skin, a layer of tough flesh, bone armor. This blood shadow knife, which had been thoroughly transformed by the hands of teacher Emperor Chu, had the potential to point directly to the ultimate realm of Godly King. Luo Feng's strength concentrated on the knife's edge was clearly far more terrifying than fighting barehanded. Saw the novel, F.I.et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Phut, the City Lord of Desert Wind's waist was completely severed, his body split in two. It's useless, you cannot do anything to, what? The City Lord of Desert Wind's eyes widened. At that moment, black rivers flowed out from Luo Feng's body surface, churning and immediately enveloping the City Lord of Desert Wind's two severed halves. After being split in two, the strength that erupted from each half was on the decline. Slash. 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 Luo Fong swung the blood shadow knife continuously, cleaving at the halves of the City Lord of Desert Wind's body, turning them into dozens of pieces of flesh in the blink of an eye, each piece condensing into a lump of meat. Dozens of meat lumps, still resilient and filled with endless life force. Don't say turning into meat lumps, even if into minced meat, into tiny particles. I still will not die, ha ha ha. Voices emanated from the dozens of meat lumps despite them being overwhelmed by divine power. The dozens of large meat lumps were still struggling, but they were all ensnared by the Black River. Even cut up like this, it feels like his strength hasn't diminished much. Luo Fong observed those lumps of flesh. After splitting into dozens of pieces, each piece's power to resist had greatly diminished, feeling no more than the resistance of one at the pinnacle of primal chaos realm. To have shattered my complete body, I admire you, but you cannot kill me. Even if you were several times stronger, it would still be impossible to kill me, the voice of the City Lord of Desert Wind echoed around. Primordial bloodline, its vitality is indeed strong, Luo Fong nodded with a word of praise. Luo He, you cannot always be suppressing me, right? Constantly diverting your attention to suppress me influences your cultivation, said the City Lord of Desert Wind. Cultivation requires undivided attention and enough focus. And to suppress the City Lord of Desert Wind with the Black River indeed occupies a portion of heart force, affecting cultivation as well. So, you might as well let me go, the City Lord of Desert Wind persuaded, this time I have offended you. If you let me go, I will give you 10 billion cosmic sand as an apology, how about that? Let you go. Luo Fong laughed, this true body of yours is quite a treasure. Even if the City Lord of Desert Wind were to actively annihilate this body, the treasures carried by the true body were very valuable. And Luo Fong was well aware that the primordial bloodline's true body was very important, actively annihilating it, wanting to cultivate it back again. It would be very troublesome, with a great cost. You want to keep suppressing me? The City Lord of Desert Wind started to struggle, dozens of pieces of flesh struggling, their might quite terrifying. Luo Fong immediately suppressed them with the Black River. You want to always divide your attention to suppress me. How will you cultivate? Collect. Luo Fong wrapped up several fleshy masses with the Black River and sent them all into the Star Tower. In one of the spatial layers of the Star Tower, this layer was naturally divided into thousands of smaller spaces. Luo Fong threw dozens of fleshy masses into these smaller spaces. Suppress. The Star Tower had the ability to oppress and seal. Dozens of fleshy masses were thrown in, and they twisted into the forms of the various Desert Wind City Lords. The numerous Desert Wind City Lords looked around in shock. They could even see each other in the different small spaces from a great distance, but couldn't come any closer. Let me out. The numerous Desert Wind City Lords attacked the small spaces in a frenzy, but obviously, they could not shake them in the slightest. The stability of the Star Tower, such that even Luo Fong, giving all his effort, couldn't disturb it, was beyond what Luo Fong thought any godly king-level palace secret treasure was capable of. Now that the Desert Wind City Lords had been split, their resistance was merely at the pinnacle of primal chaos level, and couldn't resist at all. Let me out, let me out. The Desert Wind City Lords shouted desperately in anger, but within the sealed space, their voices could not even spread. Is it a godly king-level palace secret treasure? He actually has a godly king-level palace secret treasure. Desert Wind City Lord couldn't believe it. Even the great Saint Baiyun only had one godly king-level weapon, the heaven-cutting sword. This godly king-level palace secret treasure, even the simplest one from the first realm of godly king, is worth much more. I'm suppressed within a godly king-level palace secret treasure, he doesn't need to pay much attention to me. Am I just going to be suppressed like this? Desert Wind City Lord realized the gravity of the situation. He originally thought that Luo He, in order to cultivate, couldn't be distracted to suppress him for long and would eventually let him go. Abandon this physical body. Desert Wind City Lord was very clear about how much he had invested to cultivate this primordial bloodline physical body. He didn't even have a single godly king-level weapon. Almost all his resources had been spent on this body. Luo He, you tell me, what conditions are needed to let me go? Desert Wind City Lord gave in. As long as I can do it, I will. How many treasures can you bring out? Luo Fong's voice finally rang out. I'll try to gather them. I can assemble 800 billion cosmic sand, Desert Wind City Lord said. 800 billion cosmic sand. Luo Fong couldn't help but say, you, a Transcendence of Primal Chaos realm, can only get 800 billion cosmic sand. That was too poor. he was ready to offer hundreds of billions of cosmic sand, just for the bounty on perfect primal chaos layer creature materials. Desert Wind City Lord felt aggrieved. Not long ago, he sold 12 blood spirit golden pearls to the Two Realms Palace, earning 360 billion cosmic sand. If not for this income, he couldn't even come up with 800 billion cosmic sand. The cultivation of primordial bloodline consumes a lot of resources, Desert Wind City Lord said. 800 billion cosmic sand. I've already given my all. Then you can't get out, Luo Fong said, jokingly. 800 billion cosmic sand could only buy an ordinary weapon from the first realm of Godly King, to exchange for Desert Wind City Lord's physical body. Desert Wind City Lord fell silent. He still had one method left. As a member of the Thunder Ancient Country Imperial clan, he could ask his clan to redeem him. But in that case, whatever the clan paid, he would have to repay in the future. Luo Fong stood beside Blood Spirit Star, sensing the Desert Wind City Lord imprisoned within the Star Tower in his body. A primordial bloodline physical body, how could I release it without enough benefits? Luo Fong looked up at the Blood Spirit Star. The flames of Blood Spirit Star erupted as another 9 Blood Spirit Golden Pearls flew out, wrapped up by the domain of the Dark World and delivered into Luo Fong's hands. Luo Fong looked at the 9 Blood Spirit Golden Pearls floating above his palm. This Blood Spirit Golden Pearl mission, I'm without competition now. Brother Chu Yu, I've lived up to you, Luo Fong smiled. Flame Wind Ancient Country, Chu Capital. Luo Fong also had an avatar residing in Chu Capital, carrying 100 million black rivers and a portion of his divine power reserve. This avatar was weaker than his true body, but still stronger than Great Saint Bai Yun and the City Lord of Desert Wind City. Brother Luo He, I heard that you single-handedly swept through Great Saint Bai Yun, Lord of Yuan Xiu Mansion, the City Lord of Desert Wind City, and Great Saint Yang Su and monopolized the Blood Spirit Golden Pearls. A message arrived. Can you sell me the complete video information of your victory over these 4 to the Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall? Luo Fong was somewhat surprised. Buying information about oneself. That had never happened before. The entire process of the battle that had just occurred was known only to him, and next most knowledgeable was the City Lord of Desert Wind City. And since the City Lord was from the Thunder Ancient Country's Imperial clan, the Flame Wind Pavilion likely did not want to contact him. As the victor of this battle, I believe Brother Luo his information would be the most comprehensive, the Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall communicated. We are willing to pay 100 billion cosmic sand for the complete video footage of the battle. 200 billion cosmic sand, Luo Fong responded. Brother Luo He, not many in the land of origin can afford your detailed information, only the godly kings, and a very few from the primal chaos realm. Among them, only a few will buy, and they might even share information with each other, the Flame Wind Pavilion replied. One strong figure might purchase, then share with a few friends. The Flame Wind Pavilion had no way to stop this. Then 150 billion cosmic sand, Luo Fong stepped back, no less. All right, then the Flame Wind Pavilion would like to befriend the great Saint Luo He. The Dark Hall of the Flame Wind Pavilion was quite polite. Luo Fong did not know who was contacting him, since this was an official message from the Dark Hall, but daring to say the Flame Wind Pavilion wants to befriend great Saint Luo He, it must be someone high up in the Flame Wind Pavilion. This 150 billion cosmic sand, is it credited to your name, Luo He? Yes, this is the complete video of the previous battle. Luo Fong did not conceal it. If the Flame Wind Pavilion truly wanted to investigate, both Yang Su and Great Saint Bai Yun had parts of the battle video, and the impoverished City Lord of Desert Wind even had the complete footage. So it was better to let oneself earn this money. In fact, the Flame Wind Pavilion could also use space-time methods to trace the clues, but that would be too costly. Better to spend some cosmic sand to buy directly from the victor, which was cheaper. Finally made up for some blood loss. After Luo Fong mastered the Triunity body refining secret technique, the task he had posted at the Flame Wind Pavilion seeking perfect primal chaos layer creature materials had ended, but the expenses were still quite large. Within a phantom realm. What a Luo He, a misty figure formed, quite annoyed. I managed through the City Lord of Desert Wind and Yang Su to gather 20 blood spirit golden pearls last time, and gave them to Marquis Chu Chang. Great Saint Baiyun obtained 25 blood spirit golden pearls, only slightly more than Marquis Chu Chang. His plan was to assist Marquis Chu Chang to secure the second place. The blood spirit golden pearl task, by his estimation, would see Marquis Chu Ying and Marquis Chu Chang far ahead, while the other 5 first-class marquises would lag far behind. Now, the blood spirit golden pearls have been monopolized by Luo He. If it weren't for him being a disciple of Emperor Chu, a transcendent from the primal chaos realm daring to be presumptuous with me, HMPH, I would make him realize the price of disrespect. The misty figure, as a member within the Two Realms Palace, had been too high and mighty in the land of origin. Luo Feng's disrespect had already ignited his anger. But Luo Feng's master was Emperor Chu. He could only stay calm. The latest complete information on Luo He, the misty figure immediately bought it upon thinking. The complete information's purchase price was 100 million cosmic sand, which he did not care about. Although he thought highly of himself, the complete information from the Flame Wind Pavilion was still extremely valuable. This complete information included a recent battle where Lord Yuan Xiu withdrew first. All of Yang Su's avatars were annihilated. Great Saint Baiyun pierced through the membrane wall of the Dark World to escape. The City Lord of Desert Wind was brutally battered by Luo his bare hands, and Luo Fong slashed him into dozens of pieces with the blood shadow knife and collected them. Luo He, a direct disciple of Emperor Chu. He cultivates the origin great Tao of life, destruction, and matter, combining the three to create his own body refining method, reaching the level of a cosmic body. Search * the novel, F.I.et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. His Black River world, even Great Saint Yang Su cannot break through. His surging Black River domain, even the City Lord of Desert Wind can only drift along helplessly, unable to control anything. World, domain, long-range attacks, close combat, physical body, the integration of the three origin great Taos, makes him flawless in every aspect, undoubtedly the first among those who have transcended the primal chaos realm. Important note, first, his physical body carries extremely strong life spirituality, with every bit of flesh and blood able to transform into an independent avatar. His number of avatars is innumerable. Second, to control a body far surpassing the primordial bloodline flesh body in the primal chaos realm, he must possess a heart force far surpassing his peers, his spiritual will, at least at the second realm of Godly King. The more terrifying the physical body, the higher the required spiritual will to control it. Luo Feng's perfect divine body, bringing powerful soul, second realm Godly King spiritual will combined with the Lai Yuan technique. Just controlling 100 billion black rivers consumes more than half of his heart force already. Flame Wind Pavilion, not expecting the perfect divine body, determined that Luo Feng's spiritual will was at least at the second realm of Godly King, was already very accurate. Third, his strength attained the first amongst those who have transcended the primal chaos realm without reliance on primordial force, primordial materials, or primordial bloodline, but by creating his own body refining secret technique, with a talent so high, it's unimaginable. It can be inferred that, in the not-so-distant future, he will become a Godly King. Once he reaches the Godly King level, his strength will increase comprehensively. And his master, Emperor Chu, is quite protective, definitely will cultivate Luo He with all his might. The misty figure reviewed this detailed information, containing segments of video, and a lot of conjectural information. Primal Chaos Realm, at least second realm of Godly King spiritual will, the misty figure muttered, no wonder he could withstand the Two Realms Palace's induction. This Luo He is not easy to deal with, the misty figure said, understanding this fact as he looked at the intelligence report. Other transcendents of primal chaos realm relied on external objects to cultivate, and their realm accumulation was not profound, making it difficult to become a Godly King. But Luo Fong, who created his own body refining method to transcend in primal chaos realm, had a much deeper accumulation, and a much greater chance of becoming a Godly King. Years are long, and there will be plenty of opportunities in the future, the misty figure thought. Once a major turmoil arises, even the Emperor of Flame Wind Ancient Country and the Monarch of Thunder Ancient Country will be driven to madness. At that time, amid the whirlpool, a slight push will be enough to cast Luo He into the endless abyss. This little fellow has no idea how tumultuous the undercurrents at the godly king tier can be, the misty figure snickered. Even now, Luo Fong had no idea who this powerful figure from the Two Realms Palace actually was. That was the terrifying part of the Two Realms Palace. They stirred up storms, yet their identities remained a mystery. Chu Capital, Marquis Chu Yu Mansion. Brother Luo He, you swept away the other four and took exclusive control of the Blood Spirit Star. Marquis Chu Yu naturally got the news from a friend first, and it baffled him. Exclusive control of Blood Spirit Star. Didn't that mean he was already first in one of the 3 subtasks of the Heavenly Task, and in a clear lead at that? What exactly is going on? Marquis Chu Yu immediately sought to find out, and soon purchased the latest Complete Intelligence report on Luo Fong. This Complete Intelligence report astounded Marquis Chu Yu. Avatars, too numerous to count. At least a godly king's second realm spiritual will. Creatively self-formulated body refining method, talent unbelievably high. Marquis Chu Yu, himself a transcendent of primal chaos realm with unlimited godly bodies and quite high talent, understood very well the implications hidden within this intelligence. It meant number 1 among the transcendents of the primal chaos realm. And without relying on external items. To think that I chose such an incredible guest elder in Huyang City, Marquis Chu Yu could hardly believe it himself, recalling that Luo He was only an eternal true god when they had first met. Marquis Chu Yu soon calmed down. Does Brother Luo He know how much of his information has been leaked? Marquis Chu Yu, not daring to hesitate, immediately sent this report to Luo Fong. Ha, don't worry, some of the information was sold to the Flame Wind Pavilion by me, Luo Fong responded. Luo Fong, upon seeing this detailed intelligence, was also astounded. Avatars. Spiritual will. Quite a comprehensive deduction. They think highly of me. I actually haven't studied the origin Tao of matter, Luo Fong thought. The intelligence was already quite comprehensive, recording almost all of his methods. Of course, some methods, such as his application of the spiritual will using the Lai Yuan technique, and some capabilities of the Star Tower and perfect divine body, were things the Flame Wind Pavilion could not have anticipated. Just as this intelligence says, I should increase my accumulation and try to become a godly king as quickly as possible, Luo Fong was clear. Realm is fundamental. Secret techniques are just branches. The higher the realm, the more powerful one's various methods can become. Palace of Emperor Chu. Ha, the Flame Wind Pavilion got it right with this report. Emperor Chu looked at the report, bursting with joy and delight. The level of my disciple Luo Fong's talent is beyond imagination, achieving transcendence of primal chaos realm as number 1 with his own created secret technique. He's far stronger than other transcendents of the primal chaos realm. What's the use of external aid? Like Marquis Chu Yuan, the strongest among the 7 first-class marquises, also has hopes of transcending in the primal chaos realm. But that's with the aid of a primordial bloodline, and his self-comprehension of the great Tao is much weaker. Previously, among a group of inadequate candidates, Emperor Chu was willing to nurture Marquis Chu Yuan. After all, in Emperor Chu's lineage, there were only 2 transcendents of primal chaos realm before Luo Fong arrived. But now, with Luo Fong here, Emperor Chu felt that the others were just too ordinary. Having such a talented disciple truly feels comforting. This is what high talent means, achieving transcendence of primal chaos realm as number 1 in such a short time. I believe it won't be long before he becomes a godly king, Emperor Chu thought. I also need to think of ways to arrange some important resources for my disciple. The resources needed by godly kings are most importantly not those granted by the primogenitors of flame, wind, or thunder, but those left by Yuan. Yuan harbored goodwill towards the godly kings of the land of origin, leaving behind many resources for them to compete over, with the capable naturally obtaining more. Like the Lai Yuan technique, for example. Yuan knew it was difficult to master, so he left many copies behind, and it was in the primordial cosmos that Luo Fong mastered it. Once he did, all other carriers of the Lai Yuan technique vanished. And there are still plenty of similar resources. Whether inheritance, weapons and treasures, or opportunities. Those ancient beings would also spare no expense for these. No hurry, plan slowly, Emperor Chu thought. This video will end here.